Coach Brungard is tough. He said you only get 3 to 5 minutes. He remembers the night we start preaching with him. They missed dinner. But I can't tell you what an honor it is to be here. It's amazing the transformation that's gone on in our valley. We were blessed to be here from 1986 to 2000, and then leave for 14 years, and to see what's going on in this valley. It's truly a blessing to be back here and to see what some of our former guys are doing. Every student I ever ran into, whether I was at Ohio State or the last 2 years at the University of Akron, if they were from Poland, I would say, did you ever have Mr. Brungard for class? And they would all say that they did. I said, was he a good teacher? And they said he was a great teacher. And that's what I'm most proud of. He was a great quarterback. And as he said, we had some good fortune. But I always knew what he wanted to do was serve others. And you can sure do that in a lot of various ways, but teaching and coaching and pastoring and all the rest, couldn't be more proud. I did have one short Brungard story. Can I tell you? Oh, you went to one-arm one? I never heard it. You've heard that one? Well, let me tell you one that you probably haven't heard. So it was 1993. We had just won the national championship, and in the spring, we were having spring practice, and we had a coach's clinic, and we brought in guest speakers, and one of them was a young guy named Mike Tomczak. And Mike was a quarterback at Ohio State when I was there, and then he was on the Pittsburgh Steelers at the time, and they had great teams at the Steelers, and Mark was a Steelers fan, or is a Steelers fan, okay? And it was also a great quarterback, and Tomczak was in the building, and it was a big deal. There was an NFL guy there, and Mike Tomczak's an extraordinary young man, a Christian young man. I mean, he's everything that you would ever dream of having as your quarterback. And here he was in our building, and sharing time at our spring coaches clinic. And he came in and spoke to the group, and came into my office and gave me a gift. He gave me a Pittsburgh Steelers jacket. And I mean, it was sweet. It was sweet. Well, I'm a Browns fan. I'm just being real. So I hang the thing up. I said, okay, T-Zac, thanks. I'm not going to wear this, but thanks. And so later on, I don't know if it was that day or the next day or so, young Mark Brungard's in my office. And, he's a little bit of a hot shot, just took us to the national championship, and he said, what are you doing with that Steelers jacket? Because he knew I was a Browns guy. What are you doing with that Steelers jacket? I said, hey, T-Zac gave me a jacket. He didn't bring you one. He said, well, you don't want that jacket. Let me have that jacket. I said, you're right, I don't want the jacket. But you can't have it. Unless we win the national championship again next year. Then you can have it. And he's like, you know how he is. So, a week or so later, my daughter's in my office, and she was about 9 years old at the time, and she's a big-time Steelers fan. And she saw the jacket hanging in the corner. She said, what are you doing with the Steelers jacket? You don't like the Steelers. I said, no, T-Zac gave it to me, and, keep your hands off my jacket. And she said, can I have that jacket? I love the Steelers. Can I have the jacket? I said, Ed, I wish you would have said something before. Because I told Mark Brungard if we win the national championship again, he can have it. Wish you'd have seen it before. And she was snarling a little bit. And so, fast forward a year, 9 months, we win the national championship. So over the holidays, we're in the office, and Whitney says, "Hey, that jacket's still there. Can I have that jacket?" I said, "Whit, I told Mark Rungard if we won the championship again, he could have it, and we did. You wouldn't want me to go back on my word." And she said, "Well, we'll see who you like better." So Whitney got the jacket. She rolled the sleeves up. It looked like a dress. But anyway, every minute we spent together was a blessing, and I've watched with great pride what you guys have done, and more about how you've done it. Because at the end of the day, you know, what your record is and all that stuff is fine, but how you portray yourself is really what it's about. What you gain from the experience, what you're willing to do for one another, you know, that's what it's all about. And I know I saw those cards that were going around here with whatever it takes. And you know, we always like to think about things that would be important. And when you're in a battle, something like, you know, whatever it takes, if you really think about it, you know it's going to be a battle. I mean, there's nothing more fun than games like this. I mean, shoot, these are the fun ones. And you try to remind yourself of what it's going to take. And do we really know what that phrase means? Because slogans are slogans, phrases are phrases, until they're seared on your heart and in your mind, and you understand them. So as every one of us sit here today and answer the question of what does that phrase mean tomorrow night, there's a different answer for every one of us. And Mark will remember, whenever we would leave the locker room, we would say a little poem together. We did it for 15 years at YSU and 10 years at Ohio State. And it was to remind us of what we needed from one another. And it was just a simple little poem entitled, "I'm Only One." It goes, "I'm only one, but I am one. I can't do everything, but I can do something. And that I can do, I ought to do. And what I ought to do, by the grace of God, I shall do." And as long as we can count on each other to do whatever it is we can do, as long as we can count on each other to do whatever it takes, and there'll be different things that are necessary at different times. There might be times when you're on the field, you've got to do exactly what 1/11 of the group needs done. There'll be times when you're not on the field, and you've got to be doing just what the moment calls for on the field. It might be a moment of encouragement. It might be a moment of sharing some wisdom about what's going on at the moment. It might be a coach in the box, making sure that he's laser focused so we can see what adjustments we need to make. It might be moms and dads just screaming and yelling and sending that energy and that love so that every one of us can feel it. Whatever it is that you can do, as long as we all do it, we'll be happy with the results. The only time we were ever disappointed with our results is when we walked away saying, you know what, I didn't do what I could do. I didn't do for my family what I could do. And to me, that's whatever it takes. We don't need you to do more than you can do. because you can't do more than you can do. But what we need is for you to do exactly what's needed that you're capable of doing, regardless of the role. And it's going to change throughout the game. You might be having the game of your life, senior, and you roll your ankle. So what role do you have to take now? Who knows? We might be up by 21 points. The role that we might have then is to make sure that we're glued in. And we know that that means nothing, because what's important is what it takes the next play. We might be down 21-0. We've been there, haven't we? So that's the fun of seeing if you can do that for each other. Can you do whatever it is you're asked to do, capable of doing, and can you do it from the time you walk off the bus to the time the last second ticks off the clock? If you can do that, we'll be fine. If we don't do that, we won't feel good. We'll feel like we let one another down. What a blessing it is to have Friday night football, great competitive football. The band is playing, you can smell the place, the popcorn, the whole deal. And you know everyone that loves you is there to support you. What a blessing. Enjoy it. Have fun with it. And like we used to always say to our coaching staff, a little bit like what Coach just said to you. My coaches would be all nervous on Saturday before the game because everyone said, this is the biggest game ever. And I would always tell them, hey guys, no matter what, I'll see you Sunday afternoon to grade the film. And we're going to have to watch what we did for these 3 hours. So have fun with it. You'll never forget it. You seniors, you will never forget it. I don't care if you go to the national championship and the Super Bowl. You will never forget your senior year. Trust me, I'm as old as dirt. And I remember we beat our rivals in the last game, and every time I see them, I mean, we're old. If we got in a fight, no one could hurt each other. But we beat them. We remember it forever. God bless all of you. It's an honor to be here.